Hey guys, what's going on? This is going to be a kind of controversial video, you know me, but it's something that we have to look at and have to consider as being real. Okay, so the Jews predicted a time when the gates of wisdom would be open to herald in the 7th millennium. The Christians, of course, predicted a date in which Jesus would return many times, but there's the most famous one is the Great Disappointment. And then we have the Zoroastrians who said Zarathustra would return eventually. And then the Mayans, of course, have been waiting for Quetzalcoatl, a white-bearded man who did miracles and was born of a virgin. And then Baha'i, we're actually waiting for their Baha'i prophets, and they got the Baha'i twins. And then the Buddhists have actually been waiting for their 5th Buddha as well. And then Islam was waiting for their Qiyam 12th Imam. And lastly, Hinduism was waiting for their Kali avatar, who is going to come in the character of a Brahmin. Well, what year did all of these religions say it would return? 1844. Okay, 1844 is an extremely spiritual time, and it has a whole bunch of implications. William Miller, who predicted Jesus would return 1844, October 22nd, used the prophecy in the book of Daniel 8:14. Unto 2300 days, then the sanctuary shall be cleansed. You know, that it's a very interesting prophecy, because what does sanctuary mean? What does cleansed mean? But I'm going to, anyone who's seen my videos probably already knows that I believe Nietzsche actually fulfilled most of this prophecy. Where do I have space right here? N-I-E-T-S. It's hard to spell. 9 letters, 2 syllables, but Friedrich Nietzsche was born October 15th, 1844. Exactly 1 week after the Great Disappointment, the most famous biblical screw-up where Jesus didn't come down and everyone was sad. And guess what? Zarathustra was supposed to return in the 1840s or 50s. And guess what? Nietzsche's best book is called Thus Spake Zarathustra, and it's the only poetic work of his. Everything else is essays and aphorisms. Nietzsche's Zarathustra was 100%. He literally felt like a mere medium of overpowering forces. That's what he says in his autobiography. He says he didn't have any control over it, and it also had to do with the triple conjunction in Taurus at the time. And him channeling all that energy, but that's something totally different. Okay, and the Mayans said Quetzalcoatl would return literally between 1840, or it's between like a span of which 1844 was the only time. Obviously, I'll send a link to the main site that shows this stuff. But the Baha'i prophets thought it was the Baha'i twins, but I don't see any wisdom in them at all. And of course, the 5th Buddha, Islam, Hinduism. So what does it mean? Does it mean Nietzsche is Jesus? No. It means that everyone who is closer to God is conformed to the image of his Son. So Nietzsche fulfilled the Great Disappointment prophecy. He cured the Great Disappointment in my mind, because Nietzsche, I was reading him 2004 before I got into Christianity or anything like that, and he's proven himself time and time again. You can say he was an atheist, but I don't believe that. Carl Jung and I don't believe that. A majority of his attacks on Christianity just happen to be against the established Christianity that I'm against as well. He didn't talk about Christmas being pagan and all that obvious stuff, but the way in which he attacked the church's hypocrisy is very interesting, because this is a Nietzsche quote right here. What he said, the church is precisely what Jesus was against and what he taught his disciples to fight. Okay, just marinate that quote in your mind, because what is that saying? That Nietzsche's on Jesus' side and the church is wrong? I don't know. It's not that simple, but life isn't that simple. It's not black and white. But I can tell you in 1844, no smarter man was born than Nietzsche, okay? He had like barely 10 years of work to do, and he has like 15 or 18 books. I've read them all. They're all on my shelf with all my notes in them. He's totally changed my life, and he could change your life too if you just pick him up. He's not as scary as you think. He knew 5 languages. He could retire at the age of 24 with a pension because he was such a genius and had money but health problems. Anyway, I just wanted to show you all the math. Well, not the math, but the amount of cultures that said, hey, something special is going to happen then. And in my opinion, I have a lot of books, Nietzsche is the greatest philosopher to have ever lived. Okay? All right? And God sent him to us for a reason. Okay? He cleansed the sanctuary. But we can also go into how the Septuagint wasn't translated till 1808 and then 1844 into English. So 1844 once again kind of ties into the sanctuary being cleansed, because all we had before then was the Masoretic text, despite the 1808 translation. But 1844 was the beginning of the Septuagint, which is cleansing the sanctuary of all the corrupt interpretation and Old Testament of the Masoretic Hebrew text. So that's just a whole different video. But in this video, Nietzsche, this guy, he might say God is dumb and God is dead and all that stuff, but it's not that. It's not that black and white, which is what the system wants you to think. But anyway, you should check him out yourself and go on that website and see what I'm talking about later.